I'm in the mood to lure you in with something positive, so I will say I'm glad they didn't choose pink for the new Money in the Bank briefcase for the women, but apart from that, I don't really have a great deal of good things to say. Before the match even started, they did the same as they did with Dean Ambrose and The Miz at Extreme Rules by bringing both lads out and then showing the video package to build for it. Why not do that before bringing them out instead of leaving them stood there like idiots? After they have a pretty decent match, although nothing new, they do all the same spots that all the blokes have done in however many Money in the Bank matches we've had so far. We ended up with Ellsworth tipping Becky Lynch off her ladder, climbing up the ladder, grabbing the briefcase and dropping it down for Carmella. A lot of confusion and a lot of boos. The referees didn't know what to do, so Carmella and Ellsworth just buggered off with it and made the decision themselves. Like I say, quality-wise, there was nothing wrong with the match itself, but there was nothing new added. It was just like all the lasses were going through old spots from previous matches and reliving some nostalgia themselves. And although I support them completely, it underwhelmed me, and I felt like, yay, the girls can do it too. Fake grin. Spoiler alert, the impression that WWE give of women doesn't get any better throughout the night. Trust me. And now to add a bit of salt into that wound, we've got an advert for Great Balls of Fire. It's become standard for WWE to promote the next pay-per-view, only one match in. But after the WWE have just pissed all over women's wrestling, here's some blokey stuff. Men, aggression and testosterone and balls and fire, etc. Vince likes this one. Here's a woman that knows her place. Dasha. She's not trying to do what the men are doing. She's just smiling and talking and presenting things. You'll have a long career in this company if you just stay there and don't try and get into the ring. Like this one, Lana. Although I'm not 100% convinced she wanted to get into the ring. She seemed pretty comfortable doing what she was doing. It was working, it was fantastic. She had to spend a lot of time with her husband, so Lana just struggles through her pretending to be Russian again and saying the usual stuff that she's going to beat Naomi. I have quite a lot of faith in her. She has been training on the sly, / at home, / the bedroom. But I don't know if it's just WWE wanting to be greedy and getting her out of that suit and putting her in some knickers. Because strong women aren't welcome here. The New Day and the Usos have a fantastic Tag Team Championship match. There was loads of great spots and near falls, and when it looked like the New Day had won, the Usos managed to slither away and they cheesed it and they got counted out. Crowd didn't like the ending, I did. It draws it out a bit more. It made me stop cheering for the Usos because work-wise they're great. So yeah, nice little thumbs up from me. I don't know where to begin with this. I mean, for fuck's sake, Vince, I know what a vagina looks like. The internet's right there. I'm 33 years old. You don't have to demean some lass, put her in the ring, cover her beef curtains with 3/4 of an inch of fabric, and then get her to bend over and stretch loads. If she wants to be a women's wrestler, let her do it. You don't need to put her in undersized fucking lingerie. And if she doesn't want to be a female wrestler, then leave her where she was. She was great as a manager for Rusev. She was strong, she was confident, she did her job well. Unless, there's some little boys in the back there that feel too threatened by strong lasses like that. Little boys, eh? That's what I'm putting my money on. So not only did they parade her around in next to nothing, Carmella joined at ringside, teasing her Money in the Bank cash in. She didn't cash it in. It just makes a mockery of this match because it's just a preview now. It's a preview of what Carmella might do down the road. And that's where all the focus went. Then Lana hit a new finisher. It got just a 2. And then not long after that, Naomi put her away and just made Lana look like absolute dog shit. Look at her face there. I was asking the same question. What was the fucking point in any of that? You can try and convince me you're trying to push for women's wrestling with this Mae Young Classic, but I'm not buying it. I've never bought it. It's just been divas all the time. You've just changed the belt and changed the name. The WWE's perception of women is still exactly the same, and it's about 50 years out of date. And there's just absolutely no fucking need for it. If some lasses want to focus on how pretty they are, fine. If some lasses want to focus on how hardworking they are and how talented they are, brilliant. You don't need to sell sex at every step of the fucking way. Speaking of selling sex, Fashion Files next, where they take the piss with the Miami Vice segment. I'm liking that they're not just rehashing the Law and Order skits over and over, because when we had all the different outfits, that was just getting too far away from the original point. They've kind of reeled that back and made them look like male strippers again, whilst still being idiots, but amusing idiots at that. Because this is set 100 years ago, they get a VHS from some mystery tag team that want to meet them in the ring later. I'm hoping they have just used the Ascension for the silhouettes and they're going to swerve it and bring somebody else out, but it looks like the Ascension. Moving on, we get the surprise appearance of Mike and Maria Kanellis, who do a fantastic job in aggravating the crowd and just rubbing everyone's faces and how much in love they are. It makes everyone cringe and their stomachs turn, but it's a great method of obtaining heat, and they are both very good at what they do. Just wonder who they're going to feud with first. And I'm actually hoping this isn't the doorway to some kind of series of intergender tag matches, because, I'm not a fan of those. I've made that very clear in the past. But individually, steam on. Nothing new to write home about regarding Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal. As far as I could see, it was the same as the last match. The referee tried to eject the Singh brothers, but they take a detour to the front row with Orton Sr. and co, and they get in the face of Randy's dad. So, obviously Orton flips his lid and completely annihilates the Singh brothers, but he spends about a minute outside. He should have been counted out, to be fair. I don't know whether the referee wasn't counting at that point, but after he does and Orton realises he's on 9, he slips back into the ring, but that gives Jinder opportunity to finish him off. It's a good booking decision. I agree with Jinder being the champ for a while, not just to give it straight back to Orton, but the match itself was meh. It was about as fantastic as the fact that we've got another Great Balls of Fire promo. Just in case anybody, forgot about Vince McMahon's relentless hard-on for big sway muscly men fighting each other. We all love wrestling for many different reasons. We don't all just have one focus of using it as a masturbatory aid like Vince does. Next we've got Breezango and their mystery opponents, which, yeah, it's the Ascension. They haven't made the effort, they haven't thought of swerving it. The Ascension failed to dominate Fandango, and he ends up rolling up Connor, I think it was, for the win. Obviously just a piss break match they stuck in there last minute. Oh, fucking hell, Great Balls of Fire, again! We know it's on, Jesus Christ. It's a ridiculous pay-per-view name. Saying it 43 million times doesn't make it any less stupid. We know it's there, we're slaves to your system already, we're gonna watch it, just stop saying the bloody name, it's awful. And here's the second part in change to tradition, with the Money in the Bank match following the previous championship match. In a nice move before it starts, Corbin jumps Nakamura before his entrance really kicks in, so the crowd are pissed off at him already. The referees decide to start the match anyway, so we start without Nakamura. Brilliant match, there was loads of cringe-worthy spots. At one point I just think everyone was dead on the outside. It looks like Corbin's about to win, but yep, Nakamura recovers. He runs down and cleans house, but then before he has a chance to climb the ladder, AJ gets in the ring, they have a nice stare down. The crowd are really behind that. I was as well, to be fair. AJ gets the better of that exchange to start with, and then he climbs the ladder. Nakamura climbs up after him, and before we can decide who wins between the two, Corbin tips the ladder, climbs it, and wins. It was a good choice going with Baron, since everybody else apart from Zayn and himself don't really need the contract to demand a title match. They all have a plausible argument for at least competing to be the #1 contender, and it's nice that Baron can take that away because there's hopefully something nice and useful for him in there, like a set of hair clippers. Yeah, I should have enjoyed that pay-per-view a lot more. It's meant to feel and offer something different, but it didn't. It was just yet another pay-per-view. Extreme Rules failed in that sense as well. It was meant to bring a theme to it, but meh, just boiled down to being mildly severe and extremely confusing rules, in the same way that this just felt like SmackDown but for 3 hours, and we had a couple of half-ladder matches in there. It was an absolute abomination what they did with the girls, seeing they didn't do anything new, and just ruined the whole thing in everybody's eyes with a bloke being the one to decide who won. I'm over that already because it's just going to add to the story, but apart from the two girls in the title match, the lasses in the Money in the Bank match were the only lasses on the roster, so it just felt like another, yeah, let's just chuck them all together and get them out of the way. It'd have been more interesting if they brought the girls from Raw over, so you didn't know which way it was going to go. Or, even better, I was rooting for Asuka to make a surprise appearance. Asuka could have come, she could have won, conquered, and then taken the briefcase back to NXT, so you just quietly forget about it until she jumps up to the main roster. That would have been new, that would have been creative, and that would have been entertaining, not just a cluster-fucking head-scratching mess. And lastly, whoever booked the match between Naomi and Lana, I think they should be locked in a room for 5 minutes and let Rusev and Mr. Russo just do whatever the fuck they want with them for 5 minutes for sticking their respective wives in the middle of a ring on television and parading around in the manner that they did. I mean, Christ, I'm a bloke, I get it, as I said before, but I had friends round. One of the lads wasn't a hardcore wrestling fan, so he doesn't get to see a broad spectrum of all this, and assumed that I just invited him round so we could degrade women all night. Not getting on a high horse or a white steed or anything like that, but there's a time and a place for tits and ass. Yeah, behave and stop going on about this women's revolution. It couldn't be any more further from the truth. You can change the title, you can change the name, but all we're left is with divas, divas, blah blah blah, divas, divas, blah blah blah, divas, divas, blah blah blah, please fuck off. And that's enough out of me for the time being. If you'd like to ask me questions or leave me abuse, I can be found on Twitter @BluntDamage. If you'd like to comment on the video, you can follow the link in the description to the Botchamania site and do so there. And while you're on the site, you can check out 10 quality years of Botchamania, obviously, the entire backlog of my Raw rants, going all the way back to my written work, /walls of text, Vinny's midweek wrestling write-ups, and a shit ton more great stuff on the site to keep you busy. And last but not least, if you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, and they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com, and their digital store links can be found in my description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.